So to do this, I would partner with Ghana Education Service, assess the talent of every 12-year-old, and then I would sell licenses in our public-private Freezone for talent developers to come in. So if we imagine today that Ajax and Feyenoord and Red Bull want to come in, we can sell them the license to come into our Freezone. We can give them access to our open source data of all the talented children in Ghana, and then we can allow them to operate under government guidance within the framework and the national agenda of Ghana within our Freezone. We don't have to do the whole thing ourselves as Ghana. We can allow foreign entities to come in and do it, but it has to be within a more clear structure than was previously given. So how would we fund this talent identification and development? I think there's some really interesting cases here. If we look at the All Blacks in All Blacks in New Zealand, one of the most treasured sports assets in the whole world was a national asset, but they wanted to sell a proportion of the All Blacks in order to raise capital to build the infrastructure and drive the brand forwards. And there was a national outcry about it, that you can't sell off a piece of our Black Stars, of our All Blacks, but they did. And they sold 12.5% for over 100 million. So if we're capturing the data and the talent of our children, and we're putting that into a for-profit company, we then have the ability to sell to private investors that talent base and the future product of that talent base in the way that the All Blacks did. I think is a great framework for us. Secondly, tax incentives and equity. In my personal opinion, the return on investment for corporate sponsors in Ghana into sports is currently quite low at the moment, but there are ways that we can do that. First of all, we can incentivize that investment with much more favorable tax conditions. If we look in Botswana, which is ahead of Ghana today in sprinting, which is almost unbelievable, the incentives for the mining sector to invest into sprinting are very strong. If we look at the car company VW, and I think this is a critical one for Ghana, they're the main sponsor of Wolfsburg Football Club in Germany, but they're also an equity partner within the club. So they sponsor, but they also derive profit from the true growth in value. So if I'm MTN and I'm offered equity in a national talent ID and development structure, I'm more inclined to want to sponsor as well, because I have true skin in the game rather than cash out the door. And then we bring in our strategic partners, whether they be local or whether they be international, who have a passion or an interest in the sports that we're developing. So private investment, tax incentives, strategic partners, and then the grant makers. If we look at universities like Ashesi receiving multi-million-dollar grants for developing Ghana's youth from people like the MasterCard Foundation, there's no reason why these major foundations that aren't interested in empowering the youth of Ghana can't invest into such a structure as well. And then I think the most important one, the good people of Ghana. I'm really inspired by, going back to Botswana in the 70s, they launched a campaign called One Man, One Beast, because they needed to build their first university. And in a cattle-heavy country, each farmer was encouraged to donate one beast to the national pot in order to build the first university. So in my vision, as we identify the most talented children in Ghana, there's no reason why we can't put a bracelet on our most talented children that means they can ride free on the trotro. It means they can eat in the chop bar for free. It means that they can go and get their school uniform for free, because as a nation, we need to build these children. It takes a village to raise a child. And I think that we can't look at government or private sector individually to build this. As a nation, we have to make a decision to build our most talented children. So inspiration from that one man, one beast philosophy is something that I believe Ghana's population can really embrace.